Now, live from the 2015 Vancouver International Wine Festival, Anthony Gismondi and Casey Wilson. This is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on CIL 650.
I'm a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Welcome back to the Best of Food and Wine. I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Casey Wilson.
We'd like to go waltzing, but we don't seem to have a second to do anything.
No, we don't.
We just go from pillar to post. Or is it tasting to tasting?
I think so.
I think so. Our next guest was in a tasting with me for the last 2 hours. BernardHickin is the chief winemaker at JacobsCreek. Man, did we have a great Barossa tasting.
Oh, it was sensational. And
it was...
Hi, Tony. Hi, Casey.
Hi.
All those old vine Shiraz, aren't they sensational?
They are just unbelievable.
Delicious.
Unbelievable. 100-year-old vines just pumping it out, small amounts.
Soft tannins,
yeah.
Just mellow.
It's such a treasure. I mean, that's the kind of thing you want to preserve forever, I think.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing a good job at it.
No, we're very lucky to have those old vines, and they just tell a great story. They're just fantastic and very unique flavours.
Well, we were talking about Barossa there. We should talk a bit about JacobsCreek. What is the story of JacobsCreek? We know the brand fairly well, but give us a bit of history about how that all developed.
Well, JacobsCreek is an old wine business in Australia. And in fact, we're often referred to as the New World. The old world is obviously Italy, France, etc.
Sure.
We often like to call ourselves the old world of the New World.
Yeah.
Because we've been around for over 150 years and have a great tradition of winemaking.
150 years, yeah. I wish Bordeaux was making great wine for 150 years, eh?
Which is why we've got old Shiraz vines that are over 150 years old.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, we're not going to talk about Shiraz in this segment, though. I think we're going to start with a white wine. You brought something along which looks very interesting.
Yep, one of my favourites. It's Chardonnay, and I know it's a variety that's very, very popular around the world, and
one of the most popular white wines.
And I mean, I often ask myself why, and firstly, they're delicious when they're made properly, but also they're great to pair with food. I mean, Chardonnay is very food friendly.
Yeah. So we've been touching on it a bit, but there's certainly been an evolution or even a revolution in the style of Chardonnay in Australia over the last 10 or 15 years now. What can you tell us? Where are you at now? Is it done? Will it keep going? Are you ever done? What is the style today?
I think the style is not so much... it was almost a revolution initially, but now it's just evolving. And I can remember talking to Chris Hatcher, who's the chief winemaker for Wolf Blass.
Yeah.
He was here last night, I think, and we both talked. We were wine judging in a Melbourne wine show, and I said, Chris, what's the one grape variety that you think has done a massive turn in the last few years? And we both agreed it was Chardonnay straight away. We've moved from these very high alcohol, woody, extractive Chardonnays that didn't bottle age to these lovely, delicate, elegant, cool climate Chardonnays that have such finesse, and they have a mineral quality to them, and they age. They actually bottle age, and under screw cap they get better.
Yeah. I don't think it's weird, but as a winemaker, you made that other style probably 20, 30 years ago, and now, so you evolved too. Do you feel it's a natural thing, or do you is some of it's market, some of it's what you want to do? I don't know how that gets going in the end.
Yeah, well, I think when we first started producing Chardonnays, this is back in the late 70s, early 80s, we filmed the track. Some people said, Chardonnay's very forgiving as a grape variety. Yeah. You can beat it around and press it, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That produced broad wines that didn't age, and we realise now that you have to treat Chardonnay with respect. That particular, the wine we're tasting at the moment, which is from the Adelaide Hills, we just press that very gently, and we only take the free-run juice. And probably the other change with this Chardonnay style...
So delicious.
Oh, yes.
This wine is so delicious. I mean, and you just threw that out there. I mean, 10 years ago, this wine would have been from South Australia or southeastern Australia. And you said, this is from Adelaide Hills. So that's a big change too, I think. Huh?
Yeah, there's a focus on producing Chardonnays from very cool regions, and certainly the Adelaide Hills, 500 metres above sea level.
Yeah.
Very cold nights. It's probably 3 degrees cooler than, say, the Barossa. If it's a still night with no cloud cover, it could be 7 degrees cooler at night.
Wow.
That lower temperature retains the natural acidity in the Chardonnay. That gives it that minerally character that you can taste.
Mm-hmm. You want that freshness in the wine, I guess, to keep the balance.
Yep.
I want to talk about your Shiraz, Tony. Is that okay?
Sure.
Because it's very unusual, the double barrel Shiraz, JacobsCreek.
That's been creating a lot of interest the last couple of days.
I'll bet.
Well, it's an idea where many spirit houses use old wine barrels, old sherry barrels, port barrels.
Yeah.
And
Sure do.
someone said one day, why don't we just reverse the whole thing and put wine into whiskey barrels? And that was sort of laughed off as a joke.
Yeah.
But someone actually,
I would have laughed it off, yeah.
someone actually wrote on a piece of butcher's paper, and it just went into the files. And then we came back and looked at it and did some like consumer surveys, and we found straight away there was a group of whiskey drinkers who said, wow, I want to try this. This is really interesting. So we knew those people were out there.
Yeah.
But the other thing we did to really give the wine credibility is we sourced very high quality Shiraz vineyards from the Barossa, premium vineyards that had great depth of flavour. So it also, the wine appeals to premium red wine drinkers as well as the sort of curio factor of people who like a Scotch.
Yeah. Huh. And what happened when you put them in the barrels? What is the thing that happens?
First time we put it in, it was near on disaster. What we didn't do was drain the last remnants of the whiskey out, and the alcohol went up, and the thing tasted like Scotch.
Yeah.
We thought, well, okay, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So then we brought in another batch of barrels and
rinse them with wine or something.
Just dried them out, drained them upside down, dried them out for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then put the wine in, and wow, it's amazing. What it does is you can't taste the whiskey, but it gives you this sort of smooth, textural softness on the palate, and it has more length. It absolutely has more length.
Wow.
And it's just delicious, absolutely delicious.
I can't believe it. I have not tasted this wine. This is a Jacobs Creek Double Barrel Shiraz?
Yep.
Is it here at the show?
It's about 20 metres away.
Okay, I'm going to go over and try that after the show. Fantastic.
And where did you get the barrels from? And they're Irish whiskey barrels.
Well, with the Shiraz, we use Scotch whiskey barrels, and we've also got a Cabernet, which we're selling in Australia at the moment, which is not here. But we age those in Irish whiskey barrels, and we found that was the way to go because the Cabernet doesn't have the power of fruit through the mid-palate that Shiraz has. And if you know Irish whiskey, it's a lighter, more delicate type of whiskey. And the Irish whiskey barrels went really well with the Cabernet. But the Shiraz, which has the big, bold flavour and generosity, everything you know about Australian Shiraz, soaked up the old Scotch whiskey barrels.
Wow.
And I don't know if a lot of people realize the difference between Irish whiskey and Scottish whiskey. One has an E and one doesn't have an E. Irish whiskey has an E.
Yes.
And the way you can remember that is that Ireland has an E, but Scotland doesn't have an E. Is that too complicated?
Yeah.
No, that's easy. And
I was wondering what happened to Canadian whiskey and all that.
Yes, that's a good question, Tony.
We tried some Canadian whiskey barrels, and it was okay, but there was more.
Was it rye whiskey or?
I'm not sure what
it's
the
probably
sort.
Rye. Yeah.
But the ones that were most interesting for us were the Irish whiskey barrels and the Scotch whiskey barrels.
Expensive, not expensive? Those barrels versus.
They're not that expensive.
It's just been used.
It's just the rarity of them because the spirit houses normally keep them.
Keep them forever.
They actually all start as young bourbon barrels, as you may know.
Yeah, sure.
They spend their first 7 months to 2 years as bourbon, and then when the bourbon's taken out, then the whiskey houses buy them.
Yeah. Our guest is BernardHickin. He's the chief winemaker at Jacobs Creek, which leads me to the question, is the harvest not on or starting or...
It's on right at the moment. So
are you getting emails every 2 seconds, or
absolutely? I'm getting a constant,
constant stream.
Do you call it sort of email warfare over here? That's what we get.
Yeah. So you're dealing with a lot of Pick questions or what? You've got good people, I'm sure.
Very, very rapid decision making.
Yeah.
But that's one of the great things with emails these days. You virtually communicate around the world instantly.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I know. It would be a completely different story 20 years ago if you were here.
If you think about your first harvest and this year, it's quite different. Are you doing like something so much different now than what you would have done in a first harvest in terms of the role of a chief winemaker?
Yep.
20 or 30 years ago versus now?
Yeah, I think one of the things I've learned in my career is that the winemaker is really the custodian of quality from vineyard to the consumer.
Right.
And that's a bit of an ego drop for a lot of winemakers who think they can sort of create this.
It's about them, but it's not.
The great vineyards of Burgundy.
Yeah.
What do you talk about? You're talking about the vineyard side, but if the winemaker realises that and he can actually preserve all the varietal flavours of that vineyard site and get it through to the consumer, he's done a fantastic job.
He's done a great job, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Bernard, you're doing it, and we're happy you joined us today. Thanks for coming to Vancouver in the middle of the harvest, or the start of the harvest, I guess.
Oh, it's a great place. Look, this is one of the great wine events of the world, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, good to see you.
And we're going to come by and try that double barrel Shiraz.
You sure are.
And I have a recipe I make, which is a grilled marinated maple syrup flank steak. I think it would be fantastic with that.
I think you're on the money.
Yeah.
You're on the money.
Thanks so much. BernardHickin, Chief Winemaker, JacobsCreek Winery. You can visit him tonight and tomorrow night if you get down to the festival. He'll be behind the booth pouring his wine. You're listening to Sea Isle, smooth and easy. And we are on the floor of the 37th Vancouver National Wine Festival. I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Casey Wilson.
We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
There's lots more still ahead. Live from the 2015 Vancouver International Wine Festival, this is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on Sea Isle 650.